The year is 2012. The world is ending. Wait, did I say 2012? I mean 2020. Okay, but 2012 in the NFL was a unique period. The Colts dynasty looked to be over with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning had just come off a neck injury that required surgery, and the doctors assumed that his playing days might be behind him. The Colts also had to make the toughest decision ever by moving on from Peyton to draft quarterback Andrew Luck out of Stanford. Luck was supposed to be a once-in-a-generational prospect, and he absolutely was. But today, I want to talk about what Peyton Manning did and where he was back in 2012 before he became the Broncos quarterback. There were a lot of teams that needed his services, and he visited a couple. I just went back and watched my friend Chase Chat's video about Peyton Manning and why he joined the Broncos, and I thought he did a great job. You guys should definitely check it out. But for now, sit back and relax, and let's talk about the 2012 Peyton Manning Sweepstakes. And if you really enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you want me to do another story like this, I absolutely will. This was pretty fun to research and put it all together, so let me know.
CBS News correspondent Armin Katayan has confirmed that the Indianapolis Colts will release quarterback Peyton Manning. Manning is 35, a four-time MVP, and he won a Super Bowl. He missed all of last season after surgery on his neck, so Peyton Manning will now be a free agent available to any other NFL team.
Peyton Manning won 4 MVPs and made 2 Super Bowls with the Colts. He was their dream player, and the reason Lucas Oil Stadium exists is that was the house that Peyton Manning built. And even in July of 2011, the Colts signed Manning to a 5-year, $90 million deal to keep him there. This was during a time period where the NFL was having issues with a possible lockout season, and Manning was coming off neck surgery in May. But the problem was that his throwing motion was off and his arm strength was severely damaged. So his doctors told him in the late summer that he would need spinal fusion surgery, and there was no guarantee that he would ever recover enough to get back on the field. And on September 7th of 2012, the Colts officially ruled Manning out for the season opener against Houston, ending his consecutive start streak at 208 games. 227 if you include the playoffs. Now, after spending some time seeking some opinions, Manning had his second surgery on September 8th. Manning stated that while he did intend to play during 2011, he would not fight the front office to stay off the injured reserve if other spots opened up that were needed. And Manning started practicing throwing footballs again in mid-December, and teammate Joseph Adaya even claimed that his passes looked really good and game ready. Now, ultimately, Manning did not play a single game in 2011. The Colts went 2-4 without him. And with the Colts having the first overall pick in the upcoming 2012 draft, which contained highly rated QB Andrew Luck out of Stanford, and with Manning due a $28 million roster bonus, he was actually released on March 7th of 2012. Now, Manning had a send-off press conference, and it was extremely emotional.
It truly has been an honor to play in Indianapolis. I do love it here. I love the fans, and I will always enjoy having played for such a great team.
Upon his release, Colts owner Jim Irsay announced that the Colts will never wear number 18 again, and they officially retired that jersey in March of 2016. So now for the first time in his life, Peyton Manning had a choice on where he wanted to go in the NFL. And so begins the Peyton Manning Sweepstakes. The contestants: the Miami Dolphins, the Tennessee Titans, the Arizona Cardinals, the New York Jets, Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers, the then Washington Redskins, and finally, the Denver Broncos. Now, Manning did believe that the Colts would bring him back, but as you know, they didn't. And like I said just a couple moments ago, on Wednesday, March 7th, 2012, Colts cut Manning. Now, right after that, the Colts flew him to Miami, where he had a home. That night, he got a call from then head coach of the Denver Broncos, John Fox, and him and Manning just spent some time catching up. And then on Friday, March 9th, just 2 days later, and Saturday, March 10th, Manning spent nearly 6 hours with the Broncos at their facility in Inglewood, meeting with general manager John Elway and head coach John Fox.
Peyton Manning has a mile-high meeting with John Elway.
We've just gotten word that Manning has arrived in Denver.
Now, while he was out in Denver, he also met with Redskins head coach Mike Shanahan and his son Kyle, and they broke down potential offenses they could run, and Manning was interested in possibly signing with them. But just a couple days ago, on March 9th, they traded up from number 6 to number 2 to possibly take RG3, so that never worked out. So Manning had finally met with 2 teams, and right after that, a crazy incident happened. And he was going to meet with the Arizona Cardinals, but then the Seahawks with Pete Carroll and John Schneider wanted to sign Manning, and they just showed up and flew into Denver and tried to entice Manning to come to Seattle with them. Now, Manning said that Pete Carroll flew to Denver on the Seahawks plane, was at the Denver airport when he texted him, and Manning tried to be nice and respectful in the same way, and he called Pete and told him he just didn't feel comfortable doing that, and he was going to honor his commitment to going out to Arizona. Now, Manning didn't like surprises, and he was worried that if he got on that plane, he would end up signing with Seattle, and he didn't want to do that. He wanted to really think this thing out, and that definitely ruined his chances of going to Seattle, so he didn't end up going there. So then on Sunday, March 11th, he spent 6.5 hours at the Arizona Cardinals headquarters and training facility. And those meetings were designed to lure the superstar to the desert.
Proof that Peyton Manning is indeed in Arizona. After meeting with the Cardinals, Manning is expected to fly to Miami to meet with the Dolphins, but that may be his last meeting.
So far, Manning had met with the Denver Broncos, Arizona Cardinals, head coach Mike Shanahan of the Redskins, and the Cardinals and the Broncos were definitely the two landing spots that everybody thought he would go to. Then on Monday, March 12th, Manning met with the Dolphins' Joe Philbin and offensive coordinator Mike Sherman for around 5 to 6 hours, and the meeting was described as good.
The Dolphins are all in, and as you can tell, the hysteria in South Florida should be a pretty good hint.
I heard the Dolphins need a quarterback and Peyton is available.
The Dolphins will get their chance to land Peyton Manning. Joe Philbin will meet with Manning at an undisclosed location.
Dolphins head coach Joe Philbin met with Peyton in Indianapolis for nearly 6 hours.
Then on Tuesday, March 13th, Manning was back at Duke University, and he met with the 49ers, and the 49ers really wanted him. Manning was working out at Duke with David Cutcliffe, and the 49ers went there, and Jim Harbaugh wanted to see him work out, but he didn't want to be seen, and him and Greg Roman flew out to rally, and they bought Duke hoodies and stood in the corner to watch him work out so nobody noticed them.
And he actually worked out with the 49ers on Tuesday with Niners coach Jim Harbaugh.
Then they told Manning they needed a physical, and a team doctor was there that night, and they took a physical of Manning at Cutcliffe's house. But here's where it gets really funny, because Cutcliffe's wife asked if anybody wanted something to eat, and Harbaugh asked for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, even though no one asked for anything. So then a day later, on Wednesday, March 14th, Manning flew from North Carolina to the Titans and took some time to meet with them.
In the Manning sweepstakes, Bud Adams told the Nashville Tennessean, quote, "He is the man I want, period."
The Titans are in position to go meet Peyton Manning. They got their man, period. Coach Munchak roll up with Peyton Manning at about 2:34 local time. The Titans and Manning got their money's worth today. Mike Munchak and Peyton Manning came out 6.5 hours later.
He was in Nashville and met with Coach Mike Munchak, who played with Archie Manning, and supposedly Bud Adams offered Manning a lifetime contract for them. Manning played college at Tennessee and Knoxville, and Nashville was an appealing option for him. But then on Friday, March 16th, Adam Schefter reported that the 49ers, Tennessee Titans, and the Denver Broncos were all in Manning's final three. The Arizona Cardinals were told they were going to proceed without Manning. But I still haven't mentioned the Jets. The Jets were interested, but nothing came out of it, and they stuck with Mark Sanchez. And now it was down to the top three. Manning had thought about his decision over the past couple of weeks and took his time narrowing his options, but ultimately it came down to the 49ers, Titans, and Broncos. And on March 21st, 2012, Manning signed a 5-year deal with the Denver Broncos worth $96 million.
Wait is over. Peyton Manning has made a decision. He will continue his career this upcoming season with the Denver Broncos.
And then told the 49ers and Titans that he would not be joining them. The Broncos took their time with Manning and actually cared about him and knew this was a difficult decision for him, so they wanted to give him all the time he needed. They didn't give him a timeline, and the reason the Cardinals kind of ran themselves out of this was that they asked Manning by Thursday if he knew he was coming there or not, and they tried to rush him based off a roster bonus they owed someone on their team, so that really scared him out of going there. Now, John Fox and John Elway did this perfectly, and they wanted to win now, and Manning had a small window with his neck injury, obviously, and he didn't want to go far or rebuild, and this provided Manning comfort, and it sold him going to Denver. And Manning had really become familiar with the Denver area. He had spent a lot of time there, and it really just felt like a second home to him. And two things that drove Manning to Denver, honestly, were one, he just wanted to be in a different conference than Eli. He played his entire career in the AFC, and obviously Eli had played in the NFC, and Denver obviously offered that. And then the other thing Denver did was they really gave up a lot of control to Manning. They kind of said, hey, you run this show, you do it your way, we're going to give you all the control of the offense. And that's a reason he didn't go to Tennessee, is because they didn't offer something like that to him. Now, when you look back on Manning's recruitment, it has a downward effect on everything else in the NFL. I mean, so many different stories could have come out of this if he had signed with a different team. But Archie Manning always told Peyton that when you make a decision, never look back on it. And that's the advice he took the rest of his life. So he never really looks back at what could have been. So he never has any what ifs on if he went to Miami or San Francisco. And Manning went on to 2 Super Bowls with the Broncos. And honestly, in some people's eyes, they see him as a Bronco rather than a Colt. And Peyton Manning's entire career is really a storybook ending. I couldn't see him playing for any other team except for the Broncos. And obviously it kind of makes a little bit of sense. The Broncos are a horse and the Colts were a horse. So at least that was the one consistency with him switching teams. So that is the story of the 2012 Peyton Manning sweepstakes. If you would like me to look back at another athlete's recruitment and free agency, please let me know. I had fun putting this together, so please leave a like if you enjoyed. I would love to hit 1,000 likes, so I would appreciate it.